This video is going to work on being able to rotate in a coordinate plane. I'm going to show you, there are rules that you can memorize, and we'll learn about those rules in the packet next week. However, I just want to show you how to do it manually. So if you forget the rule, you can always fall back on this. A rotation is basically a turn. We're turning a pre-image around a point, a center point, and we're turning it a certain number of degrees. So the first thing that we need to keep in mind is clockwise, just like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, clockwise goes with a clock. Counterclockwise goes against a clock. When we talk about the unit circle and things like that, when we look at the coordinate plane, 0 degrees starts here at the right, and then 90 degrees actually is counterclockwise. Now, in most of your rotations, they're going to tell you which way to move, but if it just says a 90-degree rotation, then it's going to be counterclockwise. 180 would be half a turn. And so I kind of have this written out here. You might put that in your notebook. 90 degrees is a quarter of a turn counterclockwise, unless they tell you that it's clockwise. 180 is a half a turn. Negative 90 is 1/4 of a clockwise turn. So we would come from here to here. Now I'm going to show you how to do this manually. We're just going to work with a point at first, and then we'll move on to something else. But we're going to start with our coordinate plane. So get yourself a piece of grid paper, and then I want you to label the top and write TOP at the top, because we're going to be sliding this piece of paper around, and you need to know which way, where you started. So let's start with putting a coordinate. We're going to put the coordinate at, let's say, right there at 2, 1. And we're going to call that coordinate A. Now, if I want to, say I want to rotate A 90 degrees counterclockwise. Well, I'm going to take my paper, and my paper is a rectangle, so if I'm rotating it 90 degrees counterclockwise, I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to rotate it a quarter of a turn counterclockwise. So if you watch the corner of my paper here, it's going against the clock. So I'm going to rotate it a quarter of the way counterclockwise, and then I'm going to read the coordinate. Well, the coordinate, I would go left 1 and up 2. So left 1, up 2. So I'm going to turn my paper back, and I'm going to go for my center, left 1 and up 2. And that gives me A prime. That is my image of A, which was my pre-image, after I rotated it 90 degrees counterclockwise. So let's try this with a different coordinate. Let's choose something like -3, -1. -3, we're going to call that point B. Point B is -3, -1. And I want to rotate 180 degrees. Now let's think about that. If I take my paper and I rotate it 180 degrees, that's 2 quarters, or halfway. Does it matter if I go 90, 180, that's counterclockwise, notice B landed in that quadrant 1, or if I started and I went 180 clockwise? It lands in the same spot. So 180 degrees isn't going to matter whether you go clockwise or counterclockwise. So again, let's rotate it. There's 90. There's 180. Now let's read the coordinate. Well, the coordinate is 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1 up. 3 right, 1 up. So let's spin it back. And let's go 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3, and 1 up. So I didn't plan that real well, but my point B, that's B prime, and that is found at 3, 1. Now, you can do this with a whole figure. Let's say that we have a little figure here. Again, label your top. And let's draw let's call that P. And then let's go to 2, 3, let's call that R. And come down here at 2, 1, and call that S. So we have 1, 1, we have 2, 1, and we have 2, 3. So that's my little triangle there. Now I'm going to take my triangle and I'm going to rotate triangle PRS. Let's rotate that 100, or let's do it 90 degrees clockwise. So now let's think about this. If I'm taking this triangle and I'm going 90 degrees clockwise, it's going to land here in quadrant 4. So take your paper, rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, and I'm at right 1, down 1, so spin it back. Right 1, down 1, there's my P prime. Now, all these rotations have been done about the center, or the origin. Now we're going to do the same thing for S. Let's read S. So right 1, down 2 for S. So right 1, down 2, there's my S prime. And then R prime was right 1, 2, 3, down 2. So we're going to go right 1, 2, 3, down 2. And there is my R prime. Triangle. If I look at the after effects, go ahead and spin it, and it is. It's a little triangle, little right triangle laying on its side, and that's what I have as my image. So pre-image, image. Now if I were to take this figure and to rotate it again, I would write 2 little tick marks, or 2 little, a double prime, to show that I've rotated this again. I've not asked you to do that, but that's how you manually do rotations. And today's assignment, I want you to do it this way, because I want you to have something to fall back on if you don't memorize the rule. And in June, or maybe your junior year when you're taking the ACT and you don't remember that rule, this is a way that you can fall back on.